I'm gonna be so real. When I first got this comment, I thought it was like boy lie, and I was like, are the transphobes trying something new? Boily. Like girly, but for boys. I love it. I will be saying this. Thank you so much.
When I first saved this TikTok, I was like watching it without sound because I forgot to put my headphones back on or something, and I was also like, boy lie. That's the first thing my brain also went to, because it's just why is it a boy lie, you know? And then I watched and I was like, oh, actually that makes more sense. But I could legitimately still see the transphobes using this as boy lie. You're not actually a boy. Or would they? They would probably be confused and use it for trans women. Again, because I don't know. These transphobes are really confused. And they confuse me because they're so confused. But this is actually a cute way to show support of your fellow trans dudes, I guess. Hello BabyQueers, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing another installment of Queer TikToks, because why the hell not? You know, that's the only reason I need, really. But anyways, you know the deal. Before we continue, y'all gotta get hydrated. So grab some water, or some tea, or whatever else you like to drink, and then we'll continue. In the meantime, also feel free to like and subscribe. Do you have your drink? Okay, let's continue. Well, see, I might be a straight dude, but why is it still a thing though? Because yeah, trans dudes often have first-hand experience of what it's like to be treated like a woman. Because for a while in your life, people either treated you as like a little girl or a woman, which I think if you know what that's like. You know, so yeah, they usually tend to be a lot more understanding. And this is probably maybe also the thing that could potentially, like, that's the thing I think is always gonna out me, that if I like act understanding about how sucky periods are or something, that people will be like, what? I mean, I grew up with 3 older sisters. I could still always pull that card, you know, if I don't want to come out as trans, but still, yeah. But still, like, why is it still a thing that the transphobes say that trans men only transition because they hate women so much, because they're misogynistic, they don't want to be a woman anymore because it's easier to be a man. But then as soon as people say it's easier to be a man and men have privilege, then it's also wrong. Like I said, these people are confused, and their confusion is confusing me. But, you know, I guess you really are very understanding for a straight guy.
I'm letting you know right now, whatever you're doing, you're not doing it gay enough. You could always be gayer. You could always do more gay shit, and yet here you are, doing the gay bare minimum. It's time to lock in. Get those tattoos. Start embracing your body. Get those piercings. Go kiss some girls. Touch some grass. This 2025 is the year of doing things gaily and gayer.
Did I just have to get up and get the queer flag back there? Because I have my non-binary flag hanging there, and a rainbow flag, which you can't see anymore. But if you've watched any of my older videos, you've probably seen the flags. But I could be doing things gayer. You're absolutely right. I promise to do better from now on, because there is always room for more queerness. There's always room to act gayer. So unless you're a gay man, go kiss some girls consensually. Go make out with other queer people. Go be gayer. Come on. I promise to do my best to be gayer. And you please also be gayer this year. Come on. When I explained to my half-sister that I actually was her brother now and not her sister, the first thing she said was, good, you're a really ugly girl, but now you can be a normal-looking boy. Child, anyways, thanks for the support, I guess, but I don't think this was the reaction anyone was looking for when coming out. You know, like, it's great that you're supportive of trans people, but did you have to be so mean about it, really? My god. But anyways, I guess she would rather have a normal-looking brother than an ugly sister, which, you know, teenagers, probably. Okay, we're gonna ignore that one of my lights just went off, because it just seems to be randomly flickering right now when it wants to find me. So I guess we're just gonna do this semi-lit right now, actually.
My Slavic mom trying to talk me out of buzzing my head. You will look like a boy. I don't care. No man would marry you. Perfect. You will look exactly like your father. Oh no. Gotcha.
You just gotta try out enough reasons to eventually find something that will work with any given person. Because I'm glad I don't look that much like my father with bust hair. It wouldn't have stopped me, actually. It probably wouldn't have stopped me because I was just annoyed and really fed up of dealing with my hair. So it had to go. Again, I've had a buzz cut like 4 or 5 times by now, and I always decide at some point that I'm gonna grow my hair out again. And then regret it at some point and shave it off again, so. You know, but I don't think you're actually gonna look that much like your dad. I mean, of course I don't know your dad, but I think you're probably still gonna look different. And probably better than him.
Coming out as a non-binary to my Slavic mother. Mama, I am non-binary. Non-who? It means I'm neither a boy or a girl, just a person. Well, in this outfit, you do look like a person. A homeless one, Mom.
Again, this probably wasn't the reaction you were looking for. But it wasn't a that bad one. I mean, like, a lot of people have this exact problem where, like, older generations, like parents or uncles or someone, doesn't understand your kind of style or doesn't understand your outfits, and it's just like constantly thinking you look a bit weird or off because every generation has like kind of a different aesthetic. So kind of rude, but also I guess if that's all she has to say about you being non-binary, then it's not the worst, really. Like, it's okay. At least she admitted you look like a person, I guess.
So my little sister is married to a woman and they have a baby. And this baby's the luckiest baby in the world. She has 2 moms. But something I've noticed about her is that she's like very interested when men speak to her. And I asked my sister, what's up with that? And she was like, no. She loves men. They're like very exotic to her.
I mean, I can see that. Like, babies are generally curious about a lot of things, right? And a lot of kids or babies are really interested in other people in general and always seem a little bit fascinated when people talk to them. But I can see that. Like, if you're so used to both of your moms just like spending most of the time, like most of this baby's time is spent with either mom, right? So she's so used to women. I guess I could see it to just be like fascinated, like, you're not like my mom, what is going on? I can see that. Kind of feel like she'll grow out of it eventually and just go through the typical ew boy stage, but for now I guess she's really fascinated by men. This confuses me. Like, a lot of parents are kind of like the opposite way of just being like, oh, queer people are okay. But not if it's their own kids. Your parents are kind of the opposite. Like, do they hate on you specifically, or do they just hate on random queer people? And they just be like, no, but you're different. It's okay because you're not pushing it in people's face, but then give you flags to push it in other people's faces. I'm confused by your parents. I mean, I'm guessing we're in the same boat because you also seem a little bit confused. And to be fair, I think you, or at least I definitely would prefer parents who wouldn't be homophobic, but then also just gave me a different like Christmas present and not something super queer. Because to be fair, I do usually, at least with family, prefer to be gifted money because it's not their fault they don't know me that well, but they don't know me that well. So it's easier to get myself something I wanted or needed. You know, so yeah, but well, your parents knew one thing about you and decided to gift you that as a present. You know, like one flag and less homophobia would have probably also been a good idea.
The other day I went to a restaurant with my girlfriend and my 4-year-old, and the server came up and said, "Hello, ladies," and proceeded to take our drink order. And as soon as the server left, my 4-year-old looked at me and just gasped and was like, "They called you a lady." She also corrected a family member the other day who she heard me and just went, "They, them, they, them, they, them," over and over again until they acknowledged her. All that to say, if my freshly 4-year-old can figure out pronouns, so can your shitty boomer parents. No more excuses.
Honestly, like, people saying, oh, it's just like, they grew up in a different generation, you know, has always been like the shittiest excuse ever. Because, sure, you may not know anything about queer people yet, or you may not have consciously met a queer person before or a trans person before, but that's really not an excuse to be close-minded and hateful, right? Like, if you don't know anything about it, okay, but then kind of refusing to learn and refusing to do better, kind of weird. So if you tell me, oh, they just grew up in a different generation, I'm just gonna be done with you, really. That's just annoying, right? So listen, kids have the easiest time with it probably because kids learn new things every day. So if you teach them something new, they'll learn it, right? But if a 4-year-old who probably forgets a lot of things manages to not forget pronouns, then your other like people don't really have that much of an excuse anymore.
One of my favorite things about being a lesbian is that we don't have an entire genre of humor centered around how we don't actually like the people we're with. Even the jokes people make about us, like we move in too quickly, or relationships don't rely on how often we have sex, or we spend all of our time together. All of those jokes are really centered around the idea that we actually like our partners, and we tend to act like it.
But literally this is why I love lesbian jokes and hate straight jokes, because lesbian jokes are, haha, she loves her partner so much she cries as soon as her girlfriend has to go to work, or oh my god, they moved in after 2 dates. Because I would take jokes like that anytime, and I would take people actually loving their partner anytime over,
haha, my wife is so shitty, oh my god, she forced me into marriage, now my life is over,
kind of jokes. Like, I'm neither straight nor a lesbian, obviously, but I would still, like, I still find lesbian jokes way funnier because they're not centered around just hating the people you're supposed to enjoy spending time with. You know, like, I get that you love that about being a woman or a lesbian, but this is why lesbians are better than straight men, actually.
I just got dressed and I looked in the mirror and I thought to myself, wow, I look like someone's gay aunt. And then I remembered I am someone's gay aunt, so.
Did you already dress like this before becoming an aunt? Because, yeah, generally, like, if I saw you out in the street, I would probably kind of think you're gay. You know, which is fair considering that you are gay, you know, but I'm curious, like, did your style change once you became someone's gay aunt versus being just a random queer person. Because it'd be kind of funny, actually. Like, you know, your niece or nephew or someone is born, and then you just start dressing like this. It'd be funny, but I kind of have a feeling you already dressed like this before, didn't you? But this is literally a very wholesome trans interaction. Like, I always love these type of interactions because it kind of went the other way around too, of like trans women just being like, oh, I'm insecure about my height or something, or trans men being insecure that they're too short or not muscular enough, and like trans women also like offering up height or body parts or whatever. Like, this is a very wholesome trans experience. What are you talking about? Like, it's understandable, first of all, but it's also just really, really wholesome.
That's when it hit me. The best idea I ever had in my entire life. That's the worst idea you ever had in your entire life.
I don't know about worst idea. Because if this is the worst idea you ever had, you probably haven't had that many bad ideas yet. Because honestly, it's just kind of understandable. Like, it's a very common like aroise thing, but I can see it also being like a gay thing to just pick someone of the opposite like gender to have a crush on, so that people will not pick on you. Because kids can be really rude and can bully you, so kind of trying to avoid that. It doesn't sound like the stupidest idea. It's sad that it's necessary, of course, but I don't think this qualifies as the worst idea someone has ever had, okay?
So I just got an email from my office job instructing me that I had to attend a mandatory LGBT inclusion meeting. And don't get me wrong, like, all well and good, but like, is this not gay enough for you?
Okay, we've been over this. You can always be gayer. But it's still funny to me. Like, honestly, like, of course, they kind of have to make it mandatory for everyone, but it would just be awkward. If you're there with, like, a bunch of middle-aged straight men and women who are just, like, moms. I don't have anything against moms, really. Like, the moms at my work are really literally just the sweetest. But you just, like, have a bunch of moms and some middle-aged men and maybe some younger people. But when they talk about lesbians, they're all just gonna like whip around and stare at you. It's gonna be awkward. So I kind of wish you would be exempt, but I think you still have to go. I think you look gay enough. But I guess maybe get some more tattoos. You know, like the person in the video said earlier, like, be gayer. Get some more tattoos. Go kiss some girls. Like, if you have a girlfriend, tell her you love her and get her a nice gift, like some flowers or her favorite meal or whatever. Come on, be gayer. Love your girlfriend or whatever. Just be gayer. You still have to go to the meeting, unfortunately.
One time I was on Tinder, and I'm transgender, so being on Tinder is kind of strange because a lot of times when I'm in my hometown, I see a lot of people from high school who knew me when I was a boy, and as a result, using Tinder gets a little awkward. But I'm on Tinder, and I match with this guy, and I don't recognize him. He didn't go to my high school, which is perfect. I get to talking to him. We set up a coffee date. He is so cute and adorable, and then he's like, where'd you go to school? And I mentioned the high school that I went to. And he was like, oh, I went there too. What class were you? And I was like, oh, I was this class. And he was like, I was also that class. How do I not know you? And then I was like, wait. And then he was like, did you sit next to me in English? And then I said, no, you're him. He also transitioned, and I transitioned, and we sat next to each other in English, and neither of us realized this the entire time we were texting on Tinder, that we had known each other. We were friends. Like, we, hung out sometimes. I had no idea who this guy was. It was so awesome. I love transitioning. I love people.
This is literally the funniest thing ever. I kind of had something similar. Not like a random person, but I had this boyfriend when I was like 16, I think. We only like dated for 3 or 4 months. I don't know. It wasn't that long. And then we like lost contact because they went to a different school, and then, you know, and we weren't in contact until a few years later when she went to like the same school for like her job as a friend of mine, and they got to talking, and she also heard that I was trans, and then like she wanted my Instagram handle so she could text me about it. And it was already kind of funny, but just finding it out randomly on a coffee date that you already know each other is probably funnier. Why did you put it in your bag though? Are you wearing clothes that you can't attach it to? Like, are you wearing like sweatpants or leggings or something? But honestly, I think a lot of lesbians probably do this because lesbians are very, probably cliche, but very kind of known for wearing a lot of rings and then having to take them off at certain times when they're with their partner or, you know, someone similar. So just having a carabiner, if you already wear them, and just like putting all your rings on them so you don't lose them everywhere, and so you don't like lose track of which ones are your rings and which ones are your partner's rings or something, is probably a good idea. And to be fair, I love carabiners, but I don't wear them on my pants usually because it feels slightly inappropriate. Right? Because I'm not a lesbian, and I don't want like people to walk past me and just think I'm a lesbian because I'm not that masculine, I'm not super tall. So people already often think I'm a woman. So I wouldn't want to mislead some lesbians who just see the carabiner and just like, oh. And I don't want that to happen, so I don't usually wear carabiners. But they are super practical, so I can see why you started to. Anyways, that was all the TikToks for today. These were super fun. I feel like I usually get madder during, well, most videos really, but also during these videos. But I think we didn't get that mad sometimes. Maybe a little mad at transphobic, confusing people, you know, but compared to usually not mad. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed it too. I hope you're hydrated. If not, maybe consider drinking something now. And I'll be back in a few days with my next video.